Hello and welcome to preparation for Google Certified Educator Level 1. This is session 7. Take a minute, please, and register at the URL you see on the screen, or if you prefer, you can just scan the QR code there. Like I said, this is session 7. If you're looking through the rest of the sessions, you can visit my YouTube channel. And at the end of this, I will also provide some links to some of the other sessions. My name is Brett Petrillo. I am indeed a Google Certified Educator and a Google Certified Trainer. You can find me at my website, brettpetrillo.com, or on Twitter at Brett Petrillo. And like I said, this is certification preparation for Level 1 Google Certified Educator. This is the first level of training. After you finish your preparation, you'll have to take the Google Certified Educator 1 exam. This costs $10, and when you pass it, you get to use this badge that you see on the screen in anywhere that you want to promote your skills. Now, I just want to point out that the exam does come from Google. Google hosts it and Google grades it, and therefore Google also will provide you with the badge. I do not certify you as a Google educator. That comes from Google. And it is achievable here through edutrainingcenter.withgoogle.com. That is the Google for Education Training Center. Take a look at this webpage as you're preparing to take the test. There's all sorts of valuable information that you can find there to help you in the process. And continuing on with session 7, let's review. Last week we took a look at Google Slides and specifically the settings and themes and layouts and my favorite audience tools and the Explore feature that has been added to Slides. Also, we took a look at Google Drawings with their settings and how to create charts and importing different things into the drawings. And we took a look at some cool ideas that many educators are doing out there. And this week, we are focusing on Google Hangouts. And there are so many great things that you can do with Google Hangouts. And we'll explore a few of those. We're going to talk about text Hangouts, one of the kinds, and how you can control your notifications and take a look at your history and your archiving. We're also going to look at video Hangouts and learn how to start one and invite people to join it, and also how you can screen share during a Hangout. When we're finished with Hangouts, we'll take a look at Google Drive, and one of the most important things with Google Drive is organization. We'll talk about that quite a bit, and how to deal with non-Google files, how to share, and how you can get offline access to the drive. All right, so let's get started. All right, when I typed in hangouts.google.com, you see that it took me to this screen right here. This is the beginning page of Google Hangouts when you type in hangouts.google.com. There are a couple other ways to get there, but I'm just going to talk about that one right now. And on this screen, you can see that I have the ability to start a new conversation. And that underneath there, I have no recent chats. This is my demo account, and I'll show you what that looks like once we start doing some chats. Over here at the top left-hand corner, if I hover over it, it tells me that I have a menu there. When I click on the menu, you see that I can see my contacts, conversations, phone calls, or invites. Underneath it there, I have app downloads, and I can download the app if I'm on an Android device or an iOS device. Chrome, that'll take you to the Chrome Web Store, and Hangouts Dialer with Android. And settings and help and feedback. I'm going to just click on settings for a second. You go in here, it says your status will be visible to everyone you use Hangouts with. You can have that show when you were last active. You can also choose to show what device you're currently on, your phone, your tablet, etc. Or show when you're in a video call or phone call on your device. So you can decide that what you want. Here you can manage your notifications. Let's say I'm going to step away from my computer, or I'm going to be in a meeting, for example. I can mute the notifications for an hour or 8 hours or even 2 days so that they're just muted and they won't interrupt. Or I can uncheck sounds for incoming messages, and I can uncheck ring. That way, no matter where I am, what time, what I'm doing, I won't get that beeping that comes through, or the sound, the ringing that comes through for a Hangout. Underneath here, you can convert text to emojis or use the dense roster. Here we have archived Hangouts, and I'll show you how to archive a Hangout in a second. But when I click on that, I have one archived Hangout that I have right there, and I'll show you how to do that. Underneath, I could get to my invites or some hidden contacts. Also blocked people, and I'll show you how you can block people with this account. I don't have any blocked at the moment, but again, I'll show you how to do that. So that is in the settings part underneath the menu option that you get on this main screen. Also, you can click that menu option there, or you can go to these 3 horizontal dots that says More. It pretty much just takes you to the same menu options that we just took a look at, with settings right there being the important one. Underneath that, you have the contacts. You can take a look at your contacts that you have with that account. Or the chat window, that was the one that was automatically on the screen to begin with. You also have the ability to make phone calls through Google Hangouts. And these 3 options are also located over here, where I have a message with the message icon there, and I can start a new chat right from this button there. I can make a phone call and a video call, and I'm going to explore that later. But for now, I want to focus on this one, which is just the chat. All right, so once I click on that, you notice here that I have the ability to enter the name, email, or phone number to send out an invitation for a chat. I can also, from this screen, choose to create a new group, which would allow me to send out a chat to more than one person. They would all be, whom I choose would all be in one chat conversation right in the same window. All right, so let me demonstrate this right now. Let's say that I want to chat with my other account. Now you see when I type in my name that I've got a few other accounts, and I can choose whichever one I wish to chat with. When I click on the button, this window pops up, and you can see that it would automatically default to send a message that says, "Let's chat on Hangouts." Now I can change this message if I want to whatever I want and send an invite. Once I send the invite, it says invite sent, and it has I'll be able to chat with myself, in this case, once I accept the invitation. All right, I'm going to show you some features now that the chat has been accepted by myself, in this case again. So here you have your general chat window. Down at the bottom, you can send your text message right there. So you would type here. Right, and when you hit enter, it shows up just like a normal messaging. There's not anything super special about that, but you do that just that way. Now down here, you'll see that if I hover over this area, that a pencil shows up. If I click on the pencil, a neat little feature shows up that allows you to draw right on the screen. And so you could draw anything you wish and then have that sent in your message, okay? And you would just hit that right there, send the attachment, and it would show up sending, and there it is. All right, so that's an interesting little feature. It kind of shows up when you hover over there. You also have the ability to attach photos. Now that would pull up the standard insert photo window, and you can do that right in chats as well. Going up here, you have the snowman, which you know always gives you some more options, and you can create a new group conversation right from this window. And if I do that, I can add people to the conversation, or I can also go to some options here. If I'm finished with this conversation and I don't want it to show up in my history, which is over here on the left side, the history of conversations, I could archive the conversation. And that would be accessible from the settings that I showed you earlier. So I could click on archive it and put it there. Or if I never want to see it again, I can delete it. And this would give you a bit of a warning explaining to you that once you delete it, it's no longer accessible. Or let's say that the person that I had in this chat has offended me in some great way, or just for an example, and I wanted to block that person. Well, I would do that right there where it says block. I can also go over here where the conversation or the chat history is and choose the snowman right there, and I can archive and delete the conversation from there as well. So that snowman is what allows you to archive and delete. Now, this blocking is only available from the snowman there. And once I block, I can also go back to the settings. I'm going to show you again. When I go to settings and scroll down, that's where my blocked people show up. And then my archived Hangouts would show up right there as well. So you access those through the settings in the menu and Google Hangouts. All right, so that's just a quick introduction to Google Hangouts in the text variety. Next, we're going to talk about the video Hangouts. All right, now if I want to start a video Hangout, I can do that right here on this hangouts.google.com screen by clicking on the video. Now you'll notice that a new window pops up in your browser and it asks you to enter a Hangout name. Now this is not a name of the people you're hanging out with. This is actually the title of your Hangout. So for example, if you're having a meeting about curriculum, you might want to clarify that this is the curriculum Hangout. So you would just type that right there. Once you've set it, you can hit next, and you can see also underneath there is a video Hangout history as well. So I'm going to hit next and create my curriculum Hangout. And once it's started, you can see that I am the only one there. And this is the photo representation of me down in the corner. I can mute myself from there by clicking on this little arrow button. I can mute myself, take a look at my profile, present to everyone, so to force so that everybody in the Hangout would see me. Now there's nobody else here, but Google Video Hangouts, they allow you to hang out with up to 10 people. Now that is something to remember for the exam. There's a good chance something like that might pop up about how many people you can hang out with. 10, which means you plus 9 others. Now when I move around, you see some other options that pop up. I can invite people to the Hangout right there. Or I can go up to the top of the screen where there's the person and the plus sign, and it says invite people. They're both the same thing. If I click on that, it's going to give me this little pop-up window where I can add names and email addresses and invite the person to join. I also have the ability to change the rules here as far as how my domain is treating the Hangout. So right now my domain is limiting the Hangout to only people within the domain, but I can change that by clicking change and allowing people from outside my domain to join the Hangout. And I can now add people that don't belong to my domain by typing in their addresses right there and clicking invite. Next to the invite, I have the mute microphone button. So that comes in handy if you are not presenting, you're more of an audience member perhaps in the Hangout. You can just mute your microphone so nobody sees it. Right now you see that my camera is not detected. I don't have one, so you can clearly see that it's red and it's not there. But if I had the camera on, you would be able to see me, and my image would also appear down here in the bottom right hand corner. Next to that, you have the ability to adjust your bandwidth. The bandwidth adjustment is very handy when your internet connection is lacking or there's a problem with it. So you can adjust that so that you're still able to have your Hangout. So you would adjust this down, maybe down to low. But I don't have any problems with it right now, but that's where you would adjust your bandwidth. Next to it, you have some settings, and let's explore that. You can set your defaults, microphones and speakers. Again, there's no camera found. There's a problem with it, but you can set your default camera there as well. That is in your setting menu right there. And then if you're exiting your call, you can just hit the red phone up in the top right. You can exit or leave the call, as they put it. Up here in the top left-hand corner, you can see the chat icon. Now that's just a text chat like what we were just looking at. And what this does is it opens up on the right side of your screen a text chat, allowing you to chat with people in the Hangout silently. You can ask questions and have them answering right there. A nice feature with this as well, other than these emoticons that you can put in, is that you can choose links. You can put links in there to files in your Google Drive. So if you're hanging out and let's say you want to share a document of some sort, you can go right there to this little icon. You can choose a link from your drive and just it shares it right there in the chat, so that when people are in your Hangout, they will be able to access the documents that you want to share with them right there within the Hangout. So I find that is a really nice feature as well. And then one last thing over here, you can see this button right there. It is a screen share option. So if, for example, you want to share something that's on your screen, you want to demonstrate something, you want to show somebody or your group or your Hangout what you're doing, you would click this button, and then you have the option to choose a screen that you have open that you would like to share with the entire group. And when you choose your screen, you hit share, and then your video or your image, in my case, would show up to everybody. And then I could demonstrate what I'm doing with whatever it is that I wanted to share. And you'll notice that up here it tells me clearly with this green bar that I'm screen sharing, and I can present that to everybody, meaning everybody sees it as the main image on their screen. And when I'm finished, I can just hit stop for the screen sharing. And there's also the option down at the bottom as well. Now I'm going to stop my screen share. You see that pops up, but now you'll see Also, I want to draw your attention to this right here. It says share the permanent link, bookmark and come back anytime. This gives you a link that allows anybody in your Hangout to come back to the Hangout at any time. So you could copy that and share that out as well. This is also up in the top right hand corner where you can get the link. By clicking on that, you get the link option, and you also get some options as far as adding people to your Hangout. Now, Google Hangouts has become super handy in classrooms, and there are some pretty cool ideas that teachers are using Hangouts for. For example, they might be interviewing a specialist in the area that they're studying, or there's something called mystery Hangouts. So you're not quite sure the geographical location of the group that you're hanging out with. And you can figure, or the task is for your class to try to ask the right questions to figure out where they are geographically. You could also do virtual tours where your class from within the classroom can travel around to different places on the planet right from within the video hangout. So some super cool ideas that educators are using Hangouts to help them out with, and it's a quick Google search will also give you some other ideas as well. But Hangouts can be a very powerful tool in the classroom. And if I want to get out of there and leave this Hangout, again, like I said, I would just leave the call, and it takes me back to my main screen. But notice that my history shows up right now. And I have the one that I had just created called curriculum listed right at the top. If I want to rejoin that Hangout, all I have to do is click on it, and it will take me back to that video Hangout, just like this. Okay. And remember, up to 10 people you're able to hang out with. That's an important piece of information right there. And I'm going to exit out of there. And when I want to clear out of Hangouts, I can just close the tab as well, and it'll take me back to the tab, the original tab for Google Hangouts. And real quickly before we leave Hangouts altogether, take a look right there where it says phone call. Well, I can add a new conversation, and similarly to Skype, I'd say, you're able to dial phone numbers from within Google Hangouts. I'm not too sure much is going to come up on the Google Certified Educator exam for phone calls, but it could be very handy to know that it is a capability that you'll find within Google Hangouts as well. So there you have it, an introduction to Google Hangouts, the text chat Hangout, and also the video Hangouts. All right, you'll notice that now I am in my Google Drive. Now, with the topic of organization, it's kind of twofold. One, I want to talk about how the Drive is organized, and also the importance of keeping yourself organized in the Drive. So let's start with the Drive itself. You'll see the top layer here labeled My Drive. This is everything that you have put in there or added shows up in your Drive. And you also have the ability to create folders. If you see over here, I have folders in my Drive, and also then within the folders I have documents within the folder itself. So you can see that you can put folders inside of folders. This is super important to help yourself stay organized. I'm a big fan of trying really hard to keep the Drive organized. I can't tell you how many educators I've worked with where their biggest frustration with Google Drive is trying to keep it organized. So this is where you would do that through in the section right up here called My Drive, and then anything there, folders inside of folders and the such. Where people get confused is this section right there called Shared with Me. They try to organize the Shared with Me section. Well, I'm going to tell you to not. This Shared with Me is quite simply a list. You should treat it just like a running list of documents that other people have shared with you. Some people try to organize it and create folders, and that is not really the function, in my opinion, of the Shared with Me section. Think of it like a list, a running record, and leave it alone, and don't try to figure it out. It's not a separate file for you to figure out. And if you can do that, then I think some of your troubles will be solved. Similarly, the recent is just a list, and now it's a list by date, so the most current being at the top. And now you wouldn't try to organize the most recent file or section, so don't try to organize the Shared with Me either. What's important about Shared with Me is that if you delete something from your Shared with Me section, for example, I have this right there. If I two-finger click and I hit remove, then it will also remove it from my drive. All right. If there's something here that is not in my drive, I can two-finger click on it and see that I can add it to my drive. So in this case, I have a file that is in the Shared with Me section, but I have not added it to my drive. I don't have it in a folder that I just shared with you. If I wanted to, I would just, like I just did, I can two-finger click on it and add it to my drive. When I do that, it says added to my drive, and then I can organize it and choose which folder to put it into. Or I can just go back to my drive, and you can see that it shows up right there. And I can drag it anywhere I want to put it into a folder. Or I can two-finger click and hit move to. And when I move to, it gives me the options to put it anywhere that I wish. And then once I've chosen somewhere, I just hit move. Okay. I'm not going to move this one for now, but I wanted to show you how you do that. So your drive is what you want to keep organized with folders and folders inside folders and files inside folders. Your Shared with Me, think of it just like a running record, a list of items of files that have been shared with you. Similarly to the recent section, this is just a list. Okay. Now, anything that you have removed is going to show up in your trash, and you can get back there anytime you wish. Okay, so your trash items can be put back into your drive if you wish by clicking on it, and then you two-finger click or right-click on a PC and click Restore. You also have the option of deleting forever if you wish. Okay, so that's how that's organized over here on the left side. We've been up here in the other sessions with this new button, and it allows you to create new folders and file uploads and folder uploads. I'm going to talk about that in a second. It also allows you to create Google Docs right there in your drive. So you can create a doc or a sheet or a slide right there, or even forms, drawings, maps, and you can connect more apps as well. So all that happens right there in the new button. Now up here it says Search Drive. This, I can't stress enough how valuable this part is going to be in your test. When you take your Google Certified Educator Level 1 exam, this Search Drive feature is going to come in very, very handy. So what you can do here is just type the name of a file if you wish, or some keywords if you remember, or one word, and it'll show up all the files or folders that have that word in it, just like a typical search. You can also get some more options over here where you can search by type. So if I wanted any type of file, I can search that. PDFs, text documents, forms, you name it, I can search by type. I can also search by owner. So if I know who gave it to me or who shared it with me, I can type in their name right there and a specific person. Other options here, where it's located, if it's in my trash, if I've started, I can search that. If I know the date that I modified it. So it really gives you a lot of options here in searching. I think most typically what I do is if I know if it's a certain type of file, maybe I will choose what type right there. But typically, if I just put in there where it says search drive a keyword that I know, then it gives me a whole bunch of options, and I'm able to access the file that I'm looking for fairly quickly. And again, this is going to become very handy when you write your exam for the Google Certified Educator. So keeping your Google Drive organized and knowing how they've organized it is, I think, really, really helpful in navigating it. Again, there's a lot of teachers out there that find Drive very confusing, and I think if we just do our best to try to keep it organized and not get confused with the shared with me and the recent tab, if we think of these as just running lists, and we think of my Drive as the part that you would organize, then I think organization becomes a lot easier. Now, Drive has built in a wonderful ability to move around, to work with files that are not Google files. And let me demonstrate this. Let's say that I want to upload a file, but it's not a Google Doc. I'm going to go to File Upload right there. I'm going to choose my file, which happens to be a Word document. You see it down here in the bottom right-hand corner. It has uploaded a document about driving in the Philippines, and it is a Word document. You can see that right there. My upload has been completed. I can just close this, and you'll see that document right there. And it is, in fact, a Word document. And when I open that, it gives me this pop-out window right there, and I'm able to read it, no problem. I'm also able to share the document, no problem. Where the problem comes up is when we are looking to edit the documents, okay, or having people work on it at the same time. So I have a couple options here. Again, if I go back there, if I double click on it, this window pops up, and up here it says open, and 2 seconds ago it says open with Google Docs. Now that is what I'm going to do. If I open this Word document with Google Docs, I click right there, you'll see that it's thinking for a little bit with the Google Doc icon, and it automatically converts my Word document to a Google Doc. So now I have a text document in the form of a Google Doc, not Word anymore. And if I want to take a look at the original, it is still there. And if I go back to my Drive, you can see that I still have a Word document on my computer, but I also have a Google Doc by the same name. I actually have two of them because I hit the button twice. But now I have two files, identical except for the fact that one is Word and one is a Google Doc. So you can do this with Word, Excel, any of those file types. Google has the ability to convert it into that same Google style of documents. So your Excel spreadsheet, for example, if you opened it up with Google Sheets, Google automatically, or Drive automatically converts it into a Google Sheet. So you can work with non-Google files in the Drive. Now, what you'll also want to note, however, is over here on the far right side, you'll notice that my Google Doc, when it says file size right there, there's just a little dash. But for my Word document, it says that it takes up 166 kilobytes. This is because any Google document, type document, does not count against your size restrictions or your memory restrictions in the Drive. Now, files that are not Google type files, they do take up space. So you have some storage restrictions potentially, but Google Docs type docs do not count against those restrictions. So you might want to note that for yourself. If you are with a Google for Education account with your school, then your size restriction, your storage restriction is unlimited. So this might not affect you at all. But it sounds like a pretty good test question to me about whether or not Google Docs take up storage space in your Drive and do external or non-Google files take up storage space. And the answer is the non-Google files do take up space, but the Google file type does not. In the Drive, you're able to share, just like when we talked about all the other file types in the other sessions. And the quick way to do it is if you wanted to share a folder, you could click on the folder and then head down here to Get Shareable Link or Share. Now let's click on Share, and this is a familiar window right there. You can click in who you want to share it with, their email address. You also have Get Shareable Link, which is what I just showed you as well. Let me hit Done there. Two-finger click, Get Shareable Link. It's the same option. And when I do that, it says that my sharing is off. All right, well, I can turn it on as far as the link goes, and then it gives me a link that I can copy, and it tells me that anybody in my domain can view. Well, I can change that by going down there to Sharing Settings, and you can see that there's my link, but now I have the choice of changing what the people with the link can do. So here's anybody at my domain can view. Well, I can say that anybody can edit, or I can choose more. I can make it public on the web. I can make anyone or allow anyone with the link, okay, or anyone in my domain, and or anybody with the domain and in the domain and with the link, or I can just turn off the link sharing. So going from top to bottom, this is the top being most available, easily available to anybody on the web, and then gradually the permissions decrease until you get to off, okay? And then once you choose that, you can then choose whether or not it's view only, or they can organize, add, and edit if it's talking about folders. And you can do the same with files, any file that you have in your Drive, okay? So another way to get there is by getting to Share again, and down at this bottom right hand corner, if you hit Advanced, then it gives you some more options, and you can click Change right there to get to that same screen that we were just on. All right, so sharing your files and your folders is possible right there in your Drive. Now, a word of advice for you and for anybody If you share a folder in the Drive, if I shared this workshop registration forms folder with you, then you would have access to everything in the folder as well. So when you're sharing a folder, you're not just sharing one thing, you're sharing everything inside of it. And that includes anything that you decide to put in it at a later date. So not only are you sharing just the one folder, you're sharing everything inside of it, including folders that you might put inside of it. So that's something to be aware of when you're setting the sharing permissions for your folders. And lastly, I'm going to head over here to this settings option right there, and when I click on there, I get some more options, and I'm going to click on settings again. Now you'll notice at the very top is storage, and I can view the details, and for me I'm only using 126 megabytes, but you can see your own and get some details right there. You can convert uploads to Google Docs automatically by clicking this button right there. You can change some language settings. What I want to focus on is this right here. This is offline mode. And this is super cool because sometimes the internet is not available or poor, or depending on where you are, maybe you don't have it at the moment. But if you click this option right there, it says sync Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, and Drawings to the computer so that you can edit offline. Now, this is not recommended for public or shared computers, but on your own, it would be wonderful. And that allows you to work on Google documents that normally need the internet. It allows you to work on them even if you do not have a connection. And then once the connection is reestablished, it will save the edits that you have made to that document automatically. So offline mode in Google Drive, super handy if you find yourself without an internet connection. It doesn't mean that you're not able to edit your documents. All right, that is the offline mode, and check the box, super handy. And that brings us to the end of session 7 on Google Hangouts and Google Drive. Please check in next week when we talk about Google Calendar. We're going to focus on how we create calendars and events, how we add attachments to our events, and sending out invites and sharing calendars, subscribing to calendars, notifications that you can manually set up and have notify you, and how it integrates with Mail and Hangouts, which we just talked about, and labs within Google Calendar. Thank you very much for watching the video. My name is Brett Petrillo. Again, if you're looking for the other sessions, you can visit my website, brettpetrillo.com. You can also go to my YouTube channel and subscribe, and you'll get all sorts of updates. And I'll provide some links right now. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.